Today I have titled this reflection, The Prophets and the Evangelists. The Prophets and the Evangelists. You must have seen a video that is making round where somebody or a group of people has juxtaposed something that President Trump said. They've juxtaposed that with something that Barack Obama said, I think in 2014, about warning about a pandemic coming in the next 4 to 5 years. Obviously, as it is the case, people have taken this to speech out of their context and they've used it to try to score very, very cheap political points. So that's not the point of this reflection, even though we could think about that, but that's not what I'm going for. Today, I'm more interested in talking about prophets and evangelists. Now, I'm using those words in a very, very narrow sense of it. I'm talking about prophet in the sense of people that have warned about oncoming pandemic, if you like, or danger, and asking people to be prepared. And I'm using the word evangelist for people that then take what the prophets have said and then try to trumpet this to the nation. If you are going to talk about somebody that has been warning people about the risks the world face concerning a pandemic, I think one of the names that you will have to mention will be Bill Gates. For over 10 years now, he's been championing the campaign for the world to get prepared for the next pandemic. And he has not only spoken a lot about this, he has also put his money where his mouth is, and he's been involved in a huge number of research to get people prepared for the next pandemic. He and many other people believe that the world is not ready for the next pandemic. The question I ask myself then is, how do you prepare for a pandemic? A pandemic is normally caused by what people call a novel virus. A novel virus refers to a virus, a new virus, or a new strain of virus that we have not seen or identified before in human. So the question is, how do you prepare for something you've not seen before? How do you prepare for something you've not identified before? How do you prepare for a pandemic? Two ways. Number one is to try and prevent it. And number two is to be prepared for any eventual pandemic. Obviously, your preparation must be reasonable and must be appropriate. For example, how do you prepare for a coronavirus? Do you get millions and trillions of respirators ready, or do you just make sure you have company in your country that are able to respond to emergency when that is needed, rather than shifting all your company to China, okay, so that when you now have need of them to respond to an emergency, it becomes difficult. So yes, we have to prevent and we have to be prepared to respond for an eventual pandemic, because the truth is this: we are living in a world where the risk of a pandemic is becoming increasingly part of our life. I agree that there's definitely something more that we can do in getting prepared for the next pandemic. But the truth is that the main problem in this coronavirus pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, is the fact that the system that we already put in place just simply failed us. Prevention. The wet market in Wuhan, China has been known to be an hotspot where a virus like this can emerge. And people have been warning about this, but nothing seems to be done. You know, reflecting on this, it makes me realize that the rich and the powerful of this world get away with things and causes this type of pain and horror for the masses. Can you imagine if this was in another country, in a third world, that market will have been shut down? From what we are hearing, that market is back functioning, maybe under the radar. The framework is there to have prevented this type of virus from emerging, but have we held China or anybody else to the standard that we as world have agreed on? No. I mean, I can go on a tangent here and talk about leaders of states, mayor of cities that are locking people down and giving rules and regulations that they themselves are not keeping. And that is the type of world in which we live. Maybe if the body that is responsible to enforce the rules and the law about prevention with respect to the health of public health of the world, maybe if that rules have been enforced, we will not find ourselves where we are. But the second thing is the preparation. Now, this is actually what I want to talk about, talking about the prophet. The prophet is supposed to be the voice of God that brings warning to the people. You know, the Bible has a lot to say about prophets that are after their own pocket, prophets that are corrupt, prophets that rather than warning the people and bringing them back to God are much more interested in lining their own pocket. And that is something that the Bible takes very serious. Prophet and shepherd that God put in place to look after his people, but they've become corrupt and they will not be the voice of God. I'm likening the prophet to the World Health Organization. One of the major job descriptions of the World Health Organization is to respond to situations like this. And I believe that if the World Health Organization have done what it's supposed to do, we will not be in the situation in which we are today. Maybe their hand was tied. Maybe the right information was not passed across to them at the right time. But the truth is this, one of the best way, and this is very important, in fact, one of the most important way to be prepared for a pandemic is actually the body that coordinates the notification and also the containment of the spread of the disease. And once this breaks down, everything else breaks down, no matter what else you've prepared. Okay, and this is what the World Health Organization was supposed to do. If in a country, people start noticing that there's a novel virus, we're beginning to see symptoms that are new. We're beginning to see things that have not been identified before. They were supposed to escalate that quickly. And then all the protocol and all the machineries that has already been prepared will be rolled out so that, number one, this virus can be contained. And then number two, people can then come in and start studying this virus and looking for, number one, how can we treat it? Number two, how can we test it? And number three, what type of vaccination can be done to try and prevent this? But you know what? This will come and go. I'm much more interested in the prophet of God because there's coming a pandemic. There's coming a horror. There's coming a pain that the Bible calls the Great Tribulation. The Lord Jesus is coming back to take his church out of here. But the prophets of God and the evangelists of God, are we warning the nation against this coming pandemic? Or are we like what we've seen all around us? Are we preaching another gospel? Are we lining our own pocket with prosperity and healing messages? Are we much more interested in our own comfort, our own agenda, rather than in the agenda of God to warn people about the coming danger? In the Bible, the greatest amount of judgment is reserved for prophets and shepherds that did not do what God asked them to do, that did not warn the people, that did not return them back to God. In fact, oftentimes takes their heart away from God. We must go back to warning the church and warning the world about the danger ahead of them and bringing them to salvation, bringing them back to God and to the place of safety. Before I finish this reflection, I would like to reflect on the issue of vaccination because, again, I mentioned this in earlier reflection. When you hear people talk about how do you prepare for the next pandemic, a whole lot of stress is laid upon developing vaccine. And that is very important. The virus that is going to cause a pandemic will have to be a novel virus. History tells us how vaccination has been helpful in eradicating and protecting against viruses and transmitted diseases. You cannot completely stop a novel virus from erupting. But what you want to do when a novel virus emerge is, number one, to stop it from becoming an epidemic, and then obviously stop it from becoming a pandemic. You cannot create a vaccine until you have the virus, and this is the problem. It takes years and years for you to create a vaccine, years of researches and then testing, and then you have the bureaucracy of getting the necessary license before you roll it out. And what people like Bill Gates are proposing is that you already have the structure in place. When and if a virus emerges, you are not reinventing the wheel. You already have the protocol, the process in place. You plug it in, and then you reduce the time it takes for you to actually come up with a vaccine. Probably reduce it from a 3-year, period to about a year or even few months of coming out with vaccine. And then that can save life. This has nothing to do with the Antichrist. Vaccines save life. Is the Antichrist going to use vaccination, among other things, in the future? The answer is yes. The Antichrist is going to use all available technological development. But does that make all those technology evil? No. Look, all of us have knives in our houses, and they do very, very good things for us. Okay, we are not going to say knives are evil, but it is evil if you take the knife to go and kill people. What is evil and not the technology? It's not the vaccine. What is evil if an evil man, a wicked man, ultimately in the person of the Antichrist, use technology for evil and wicked reason? As much as we know that there's going to be an emergence of a novel virus, we know that is going to happen and we are getting prepared for it. I want to tell you also that we know that Jesus Christ is coming back and that is going to rapture his church. We have to be ready. Are you ready for the rapture? Are we as prophets warning the world, not only warning the world, helping them to get prepared for the rapture, helping them to get prepared for the coming of the Lord? Thank you for joining me today, and God bless you. Shalom.